What up? What up? What up? Jason just popped back out.
I have no idea what that was about.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Like I came on and he just appeared. I was like, is he ducking me? Homeboy,
That was
scared.
weird. Jason, did it do something on your end?
Yeah. I thought it was my computer glitching, but no, it was just Zoom.
Welcome back to B&B Banter Bros Goes to the Movies. I am your usual suspect of a host, Timothy Bennett, and joining me is Jason Chandler and
Hey.
Aaron Banyan.
What up?
And tonight's a kind of a big deal. It's kind of a sad but yet wonderful and happy moment at the same time. It's bittersweet.
Yeah.
This is the 10th episode, the season finale of Hulu's original series, second season at least, of Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
And
Bittersweet. That is
so
fucking
bittersweet.
It's bitter because it's we have to wait a while for season 3, which we know we're gonna get.
Yep.
And it was sweet because fuck, they did a great job.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah, they stuck
It
the
was-
landing on this one for sure.
Oh,
Oh
they
my
were just
God.
showing off, and I just appreciated every fucking line, every scene,
yeah.
everything.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. But before we dive into that episode, Jason, you like coffee.
I
Okay,
do.
so
You drink lots of coffee.
I
what's
do.
happening right now?
But I don't branch out and have a lot of variety. So is there a place I can go to find something I would like as a
There is
simpleton?
absolutely a place that you can go with a variety of delicious and local,
So look,
coffee
it's near,
brews.
it's near where I live here in St. Cloud, Minnesota.
very near, just down the road, literally about a hop, skip, and jump away in your car.
hmm
Cars don't do any of that.
Putt.
And it is in St. Cloud or Sartell area. I guess I'm not entirely sure. Depends on which side of the road you are on. But it is called Corpy Coffee and Bake Shop because they do amazing baked goods. Oh, amazing!
Yeah, I've
And
been
they
to
have-
Corpy a few times. They're really good.
it's very fresh. It's all local and homemade. They also they pertain to those special people out there with those particular needs. So
Coffee
they do a lot
snobs.
of-
You can say it. Coffee snobs.
they do a lot of. Well, I'm talking about the baked
No,
goods.
what's that
They do
sign?
gluten free. They do egg free stuff. They do wheat free, like all that stuff. Like it is incredible on how delicious and how good everything worked or looks for all the things that they don't put in it. So
Yeah.
you literally can find something for everybody.
Hell yeah.
But the one key that I found about this place was instantly walking in there, it was such a warm, welcoming atmosphere. It had a nice
Yeah.
blend of modern and I guess like homey, like a homey hippie kind of store.
Do you not get that at Caribou or Starbucks?
Oh,
I'm not a coffee shop guy. I'm a coffee
maybe
guy.
if you bring a friend and another friend from two opposite sides and sit down,
And
then you might find something.
if you bring your own
If you bring
circle of
your own-
welcoming
Yes.
vibes. All right. Well, that's good that we have something that stands apart from the Walmarts of coffee shops.
Yes. And they are extremely welcoming, very friendly.
Yeah.
What is
I,
that
uh,
sign? You told me about a sign they have.
So the instant right away, I pull up and in their little window says, "We welcome everyone." And
yeah.
it's a rainbow kind of colored
Yeah.
sign,
Yeah.
but that right there just says, "Hey, we're a safe place to be, no matter
Yeah.
who you are," and I like that, and it shows. Like
Mhm.
walking in there, talking to the people, the atmosphere has that amazing, just comfortable setting. So, and Aram, you said you've been there a couple times,
I've
right?
been there a fair few times. I went with my
Yeah.
dad just recently, and he ordered. Can't remember what he ordered offhand, but he was like, he said that most places he ordered it, they didn't do it exactly right, and he was actually really impressed with how they did it at Corby.
Yeah.
And I personally, I always get the slow Raven when I go there.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, they're
Yeah,
great.
they have-
I love them.
They have a very simple logo too. It's just a little raven, and it just says Corby, and I love it. It's a super simple but effective
Mhm.
logo. Like it's something that sticks with
Yeah.
you, and I like it. And,
The name is unique enough that you stop and you go, what's that about?
yeah, absolutely. And that's what I said. I was like, Corby? What is that? So
Yeah.
I was
Some
very
friends of mine-
intrigued.
Some friends
So-
of mine told me about it, and then I took some friends of mine there, and they're
Yeah.
great.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
We've been there a handful of times already, and I've tried something different, and their cardamom bun was amazing. Oh my god, their salty cardamom bun. It was like a pretzel dough feel to it, but it had a nice salty, subtle sweet, but it
Sure.
wasn't overly sweet. It was amazing. It was just amazing. And Kaylee likes to be, one of those special drink people with the whole
Needy,
I think-
picky.
goddamn
I'll say
I
it
think
for you.
people these days call it bougie. I think that's how that's,
Uh,
how that's
No,
used.
well, yeah, fine.
I think.
But being a barista herself, she likes to play around with things. So she
Knowing
has
too many details
yeah,
sometimes.
she has a particular drink that she likes to try, and she has all this stuff. So she tried it at this place, and the first thing she said was, "Oh, it's like layered. There's two different colors, so it's like a purple and a green. That's never been a thing before." And then
Interesting.
she tried it, and she said it was phenomenal. It was like the best that she's ever had anywhere. So,
Hell
like-
yeah.
Right on.
like your dad, was saying,
Yeah.
they take a lot of pride in what
They
they do.
take pride. They do it well.
They
So
do
you
it
can't-
well.
Mi-
Don't hate on
Mr.
them at all.
Mr. King is a fan of the show we're talking about, our podcast, and this coffee shop. Follow
Yeah.
the King.
So yeah, Corby's
Batting 1,000.
Coffee and Bake Shop. Definitely go give it a visit. You can find it on 71 County Road, 120 Suite 400, St. Cloud, Minnesota, 56303. And they already have almost 5 stars on their reviews, and they've only been
Oh,
open
yeah.
for a little bit.
Well, that's awesome. It
And
sounds
I'm
like
pretty
they're
One of those is from me. I gave it a 5. So
oh,
Banter Bro approval.
hell yeah.
So
See if we can stick one of our stickers in their window.
I'm
Oh yeah,
gonna
Tim
try.
already talked to the fucking
Yep, I talked to the
manager on
owner.
duty or the owner. Yep.
Yep, I talked to the owner just to see, hey, I love this place. I love what you did.
Yeah.
Girlfriend loved it. Kid loved the food. Your bake case looks delicious. Everything. Like, do you mind if I talk about it on our podcast? And they were like,
See if we can do a
yes, that'd
live
be
show.
Awesome. So yeah,
A live show.
Right.
Yeah. Tim wants to interview the owner and shit like that. So
For
that
sure.
would be cool. Yep.
yeah. A
So-
place of expertise coffee and a place you can be yourself while you enjoy
Yeah.
the ex-
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Nothing better than local coffee. Except for the one out of town.
Nice.
So tonight,
Back to the show.
episode 10.
oh yeah.
Only murders in the building. I'm kind of I watched this like 3 times already.
Me too.
This one episode.
Gets better every time.
right?
Yeah. And I'm so in every single time so far. I have not strayed away. Like I'm 100%
Yeah.
focused.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You stay
So,
locked in the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah,
They-
today,
oh, man.
today I watched it for a 3rd time for the sake of this episode that we're doing, and I thought I was just gonna play it in the background and get some shit done, but no,
No.
I was
It's so
fully.
hard.
I was like, I didn't
Yeah.
notice that last time, and then I just added it to my notes, and then I just was captivated once again, like it was the first time I watched it, and I saw a few things I never saw
Yep.
before the first 2 times.
Yeah.
Very, very smart show.
So today's episode 10, is called I Know Who Did It. And oh boy, did they not tell us right away who the fuck did it.
It may be called I know who did it, but no one does.
Yeah. No, it was it was brilliant. And we'll get into that. The synopsis of this episode is the question of who killed Bunny is finally answered while a few others are raised. But that's like every episode since they've started.
But they use the word finally answered. Instead of just fucking with us and teasing us.
What that last sentence really means is we solve this mystery and then start the next one.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Yep. And one of the biggest things I read about this episode, this finale, was that it is a total feel of a finale without feeling like it's a finale. Like they have the big impact, the big punch that every finale needs, but like it's far from being over, just like you said.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like
it's like a fucking segue instead of a finale.
Yeah.
Into the next. And then even Martin Short in the beginning of the episode, because there's a lot of fourth wall jokes in this fucking episode. They really just throw them at the wall here and at the screen, and I love it. But he was like, this isn't feeling like a finale yet. And then they go to the fucking title scene. It was just...
So one of the things I want to mention about this series real quick is that this still is like the #1 watched show around the world.
As it should.
And it has got 99%, basically 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which, I usually don't give a fuck about the Rotten Tomato things, but it is
when they get it right.
Yeah. And it's something people look at, it is the thing that people take.
It's one of the, it's one of the big reviewers. So like,
and it has been for quite some time. So.
And it has been. Yep. So and a lot of times when they give something a really low score, I can kind of see it,
Right.
So, but when they do something really high, I'm like, okay, all right, that's hard.
It's hard. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes is always equivocated with low scoring movies. Like everyone always says, oh, it only scored like 27 on Rotten Tomatoes. So like when you say, oh, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 99, like people are like, wait, what?
Yeah. Right.
And usually when they
go, oh, really?
And
why
usually
is that?
when they go that high, for me, I usually like the movie Get Out is 100%, and I fucking agree with that. That movie is perfect.
Yep.
So,
and this is no exception.
No 100%.
I give it. I agree. And IMDb gave it a rating of as a total 8.1 out of 10, but a handful of the episodes themselves were like 9. 9 out of 10.
So, and we obviously had our issues with certain episodes. I mean, that's why. Yeah, Amy Schumer, for one thing, we didn't care for. Those
episodes were like a 5.
Right.
So I can understand.
Not on our scale, but
not on our well. Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, it's just after watching. Now we're at the end of this season 2. It's just, oh man, my God, like there's nothing more.
Chef's kiss. Fuck
it's amazing. It is still one of my favorite shows of all time.
Oh, for sure.
It's hard not to love it, and they give you everything that you want.
It's so wonderful to see 2 legends like that return with such a good
power force.
Yeah. Like Steve Martin alone was out of the limelight in that respect for a long time, and he just recently started making comebacks into the media like that. And to see him step forward with this is, great to see.
Come back and shine with their natural talents and have the freedom to do what they think is funny and team up with the right people to write something so fucking creative and
that's something right there, Jason. That's something I've been thinking about a lot. Like, while watching this is like we're giving a lot of credit to Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez and the writers, they probably said that. But I just wonder if it's one of those sets that just everybody is just synchronized. It's a loving chemistry. You know what I mean?
And that's what I'm thinking. They know how
to
they know how to choose the right people. I'm kind of realizing during my little fucking speech there, they've been in the game forever, so they know signs of good and bad and what's going to work well with them and for the
Yeah.
show and shit like that, so they know how to pick the right people and choose the right team.
Yeah.
And then
you get the
and
people
if
that
you
know
get
your
chose,
nuances.
if you get picked in gym class by one of these motherfuckers, you're gonna give it your all. You're not gonna
Yeah.
half-ass it. Like, there's no way. That's just
agree.
not in the cards.
And we've
don't
mentioned
care.
that about Selena Gomez. That's what threw us off at the
Yeah.
beginning is why is
Yeah.
Selena
Mhm.
Gomez here? But
I mentioned in a previous episode of this series of what we're doing, and yeah, they just took a liking to her right away. She was
Yeah.
just her. Yeah,
She's held her own. I haven't
and
completely enjoyed her time
She-
on the show, but
she's had a
she's
few-
held her own.
she's had a few moments in season 2 where it's like,
Yeah.
are you phoning it in? Like
Yeah.
it felt that way, but maybe
Yeah.
I just wasn't. I don't know. Maybe I just still
but
a
it's
little
really hard
disconnected
to
from
not
her
see
character.
her in this show.
Yeah,
And
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
it'd
she's-
be impossible to replace her at this
she's
point.
yeah, I
part
couldn't
of
see
it.
it. I couldn't
Her
see it.
chemistry with those two is too
Mhm.
like I mean, you
Like
can't
latched
you
in.
can't replace it. Yeah, it's just it's one of a kind.
because they feed
Yeah.
off each other so well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Amazingly well. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
she breaks that that connection that they have. Like, hey, shut up, you old
man
timers. Back
bromance.
to reality here.
Yep.
Look,
Old
it's
man
a
bromance.
She
nice-
basically puts a stop to the
Old man
runs that they'll go
bromance.
on. Like, so
Yeah.
yeah, she's basically just like, oh, let's derail that conversation for a minute.
yeah.
Let's
Back
get
to
back on track.
reality check. Yeah,
Yeah. Bring them back into the present.
yeah.
There's this show kind of reminds me. I've recently learned while watching Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. I watched the two main stars of Psych, the show Psych. They were on
Dule
there.
Hill and I don't remember the other guy's name.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think his name is like Rodriguez or something is his real name, but they changed it to
Oh,
like
yeah.
Rue or something.
Hmm.
But the two
Interesting.
main guys on that show, apparently this show is known for being the best show like to work on. Like everybody from the camera guy to the gaffer guy to the lighting guy, everybody that works on this show
On Psych or
on Psych, yeah, like on that set, just want nothing but to do this show. Everybody loves it.
Interesting.
And anytime there's anybody that comes in, like a guest star actor or something like that comes in,
Mhm.
like if they're like assholes or something like that, the people will like if they treat anybody wrong, anybody
Yeah.
if it's like the caterer or something like that, or anybody, if they treat
Yeah.
him with disrespect, they will kick them out. They won't bring them back.
Yeah, there's
Really?
that. There's a few directors, and John C. McGinley learned it from a certain director, and he's taken it upon himself to make that part of the set. There's a no asshole rule, or like,
Yeah.
if you're an asshole, there's no tolerance. You're out right away.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that thing.
Well,
And
yeah, I
that's-
mean, groups feed off energy. So I mean,
And-
if you got that kind of poisonous energy in it,
And when we
Yeah.
talked about Princess Bride, fucking,
Same
just-
thing.
I just feel like that director brought that mentality
Yeah.
to that set and that idea and made everybody feel comfortable, and that helped that movie be as perfect as it is.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
And work environments always need that kind of vibe and that camaraderie and that
Yep.
to make it
And
the best it can be. A smooth ship for a kitchen reference.
I
Yeah.
can only imagine this is like that.
Yeah.
And like I didn't realize that was even in existence. You just hear all these, I don't want to say
Yeah.
lore or anything like or a kind of a fairy tale esque because I know it's out there, but you just
Mhm.
hear about so much tension and so much
Yeah.
ego on
Arrogance,
every
yep.
set. And
Don't look me in the eye.
yeah,
Don't,
like
don't talk to
you
me.
hear these
talk to my
stories
assistant. Yeah.
in
Right.
Hollywood about that. And to
Mhm.
hear that the Psych show had none of that was baffling. And it was
Hmm.
amazing to hear that. You mean there's a real perfect job out there?
right?
kind of thing. You know, someone can really love what they do.
Right.
Like everybody can get along
Especially-
and great.
Especially in the Hollywood fucking shit.
And
it's-
it lasted
it's more-
8 seasons. So like and 2 films, you know,
Is
and
that like a
Oh, I
show on
forgot they
USA?
made movies of that. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a show on USA.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot they
And-
made movies out of it.
Is that the
and
one
that's
is that the guy that pretends
he
to
pretends to be
uh,
a psychic, and
yeah,
his
okay,
buddies.
yeah.
They did run a detective agency.
I
and his
watched-
but
dad
he's
was a cop.
basically he's like a monk. He's
yeah,
just very attentive to detail.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and he's,
he's,
like,
monk
super
without the
smart.
OCD.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I always battled with that because like I think they did a
Yeah.
crossover, didn't they?
I think they
don't-
made.
I
They
only
did a
watched-
crossover with something. I don't know if they did it with Monk,
Yeah,
but they
okay.
did a crossover with one of the other shows.
But
probably
my point
Burn
is
Notice or the hospital
hope-
one.
and I feel out of the work that we see, out of the final, you know, outcome of Only Murders in the Building, that this has to be like that. I at least hope to
Mhm.
God it is, because
Oh,
it
it
shows.
feels that way.
Like it feels that way. Yep.
Right.
So that was my whole point. I know it's kind of drawn on, but that was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
whole
Yeah.
point.
Yes, I'm
Legit.
smiling during every episode, even if Amy Schumer's in the scene. I'm still smiling.
Yep. Agreed.
And I think everybody behind the scenes is smiling as well.
So one thing, obviously, this is a big reveal. And
Mhm.
did you guys like the way that they set this up? Like to from the beginning of the episode and how they ramped it. Did you guys
Yes.
enjoy that?
I thought it was great. Like
Yes.
the twists and turns to the reveal were all great, I thought. Because
Yeah.
they're just so off the wall the way they do it to finally get to the real reveal. It was a fun ride. It was
Yeah.
I can't say much more about it. It was a fun ride.
But the setup, Becky Butler, we get her backstory, we get that whole answering all that question, filling those gaps. Then we get to them still brainstorming in front of the murder board, and then Steve Martin trying to make the unraveling reference, which is what this episode
like,
is. They're unraveling the truth, and it's fucking genius.
Because I can't remember the way they go. Is it
and
Steve
him-
Martin says a mystery, or does he say the sweater?
Oh
I think
yeah,
Steve Martin-
Because
I don't
then
think
him and
he
Martin
ever-
Short get arguing over
Yeah.
like which is better.
Yeah. And it's fucking hilarious that he comes up with these, he can't find these references when the episode itself is the fucking
And
reference.
I have a
It's so
plan.
smart.
Sorry, I really thought a plan would come that moment.
And then he does it again.
Wait, and no.
Oh shit.
It was great. It's Steve Martin really
So-
doing Steve Martin shit again. It's
Yeah.
just like last season. Like he's just Steve Martining himself, and it
Steve
was
Martin.
great.
He's
He
turned
was-
himself into a verb.
Yeah.
An awkward verb.
I wish I could figure out at some point. We should figure out who is the modern day version of Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Whoa.
Oh,
I think it'd be
Okay.
it's a hard discussion, and I don't think we
Yeah.
should have it right now.
No.
But I think for like a bonus episode or something like that, we should sit and have that conversation.
okay. Yeah.
We'll have to
interesting.
write that down and do some research because
That's gonna be some
a
digging,
rare find if we do fucking get answers on that
right?
one. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the setup, and then I loved it, and then how they stuck the landing. It was how
Oh,
they
yeah.
wrapped, but they brought it full circle to answer your question, Tim.
Yeah.
Fucking flawless. So
One of
if
the
we're
things-
gonna,
One of the things I think was really, really good about this was I basically this entire show, you feel like a bunch of we mentioned about how they get off track. So it's a bunch of children trying to stay in a formal line, and then they
Mhm.
keep
You,
kind of
you have
stepping
a
away.
big you have
picking
a
up
big
flowers
kid leading
on
two
the back.
toddlers, and they're just
Yeah.
fucking running all over the place. Selena Gomez is the big kid, just trying
She's
to
the big
wrangle
kid.
the two old guys
She
back
is.
in the line.
And this episode was no different. We
Nope.
still see that because we have this big reveal. They're slowly putting the pieces together, but they're still like,
this
I don't know, they're
episode
still going
so
off.
was like,
Yeah.
hey kids, go ahead and play. This is free time.
There's a perfect line where Selena
fun.
actually yells at
Yeah.
Steve Martin and Martin Short and says, "Hey, did I have a stroke or did you?"
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
It
Oh.
just like it's one of those things where it derailed their little like back and forth, and they had to like it
Yep.
refocus them for a minute.
Reality
It was
check.
a great
No,
Go,
and that
man.
was during the sweater thing. Well,
Yeah.
unravels.
Unraveling.
A
yeah.
mystery.
That's
No.
unravels.
Yeah. Oh,
I think a sweater works
what,
better.
A sweater. A sweater solves mysteries? No.
Oh,
that's
and
what
then also-
unravels.
And also in the beginning with fucking Oliver to Charles, he's like, we need to torture Cinda or whatever. So Charles, think of your top 10 stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, "Get
Yeah.
your concertina and then think of the top 10 like stories and then just have at it."
Yeah.
I'm trying to use the real names here, but Charles, he like really started thinking about he didn't
He
get the
did.
diss at first.
He was like, yeah. Taking yeah. Oh god, it's great.
So that's
So-
the first 3 minutes of the episode.
One of the
Go
things I
ahead.
really liked about this episode as well was that they didn't plop around a lot of places.
No.
You basically had it in one room,
Yeah.
like a third of the way towards the end.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you
It was
set
much
them in,
more
like, the
linear.
diner. And
Yeah, there was no flashbacking, at least not nearly as much. It was very
Yeah.
linear in this episode.
and I
Just
really
a
really like
flashback
that.
in the beginning for Becky's backstory. That's it.
Now, how did you like that
no.
Becky concept? Did you find it to be like kind of shocking? Like we previously learned that she was Becky,
Yeah.
but
And she wanted to be a mole. I honestly
Well-
felt like, fuck. Why didn't I consider her once this whole series? I felt stupid.
well, they didn't lead us on to anything.
I
Right.
know, but still, she was there the whole time.
She was there. We saw her. She should
Just
have been
being
suspect.
stepped on the whole time.
I think the way that they introduced her character, like, and how she fits into the whole puzzle, I
Mm.
thought was really well written.
Yeah,
Like the way she plots, like the
so
backstory
subtle.
of like just hating her life
Yeah.
and starting over by disappearing and then
Mhm.
framing the guy for murder.
Mhm.
yeah.
I thought was fantastic.
Let's quickly talk about that. In the beginning of this episode, we get a backstory of Becky.
Yeah.
Becky
And
Butler.
Did you
Hey,
you're saying you
she's-
liked it?
Yeah.
What was the reasoning why? Like, what was it that made you go, "Oh, I like that. That was good."
I thought it was, well, I think the fact that they're introducing this character so late in the series and to be able to sum
Or-
up.
A character that we finally realize who is
Yeah.
really who it is. Yeah.
Oh, we
She's
got-
been there
yeah.
from the beginning,
They-
but
They're-
We get
introducing
to
a
know
new-
more of her. Yeah.
They're giving her a backstory at this point, and
Yeah.
and the way they wrote it and the way they summed it up so quickly, I thought was well written. It was concise, and they had taken pieces from the episode with Krebs,
Yeah.
and helped to like piece that together. And it really, they wrote it well enough to tie it in seamlessly. Like it didn't
Yeah.
feel clunky. It didn't feel like it was rushed or anything like that. It worked perfectly for what they were doing.
yeah.
And they used
And
it-
I think that was really the short and skinny of it. Like,
it's another example of using tropes perfectly because the lonely kid, no friends, the shy girl feeling not pretty, the drunken father, the sexual harassment boss, the security or secretary position, all that shit. Like they just fucking use like 17 tropes in a row, and it
They basically
and it told a story.
yeah, they basically was signifying how hard it is to just be a woman. You don't even have to be an attractive woman. It's just a woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not saying
Yeah.
that she's not attractive. It's just like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
But she didn't feel attractive
woman.
for sure.
yeah.
what they
So-
did was create this ultra sympathetic character.
Yeah.
And I mean ultra because she
with-
has
Without
the,
shoving it down your throat with all this like
Exactly.
woke writing that's been going on and stuff. It's just
None of
yeah,
that.
not
None
a
of that.
second of it.
This
Not
was-
one line of dialogue was that.
Nope.
right. It was very much like like you said, Jason, they used a number of tropes, but they used them
Mhm.
very quickly
Yeah.
and they pieced them together
Got
in
to
the
the
proper
point.
way to build an ultra sympathetic character that you
Exactly.
felt sorry for and really didn't think was capable of anything that
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. So for her to like do what she did, you're like, that must have been hard for you, and you like must have been
Right.
backed into a corner. You felt exactly sympathetic. Yeah.
And- One of the things I think was like that point is when she's in her laptop and she goes, "How to disappear,"
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
How to make
from her
yourself
life.
disappear, whatever.
without no one knowing.
Yeah, without
And then
knowing,
she
and then she just
deletes-
erases it. How to disappear.
Yeah.
And
I
I
thought
thought
that was
that
smart
moment. Yeah, it was
people.
smart. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. It was like that was good because
That
you're
made-
really. It
Mhm.
shows that she's trying to think, but now it's a committed. I just
Mhm.
want to disappear. I want this
Mhm.
all to be gone.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
just cut it loose, cut the tie, and move on. And at this point, she's running away, but
Mhm.
she's doing it intelligently.
Yeah.
She's not
Yeah.
just
She
packing up
legit
and
reinvents
running
herself.
away. Yeah, it was
As-
quite
as
smart.
Poppy White. Is that what her name was?
Yeah, yeah, Poppy, yeah.
White.
Oh, my
yeah.
favorite brand of muffin.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and then
So,
she
yeah.
comes and she goes to Cinda,
Tina
And-
Fey.
Tina Fey, and what
Yeah, yeah.
and what does she do?
She inserts herself into
it's
this whole thing.
She pitches an idea for a podcast.
Pitches an idea for a podcast. What was that?
The disappearance of Becky Butler.
And everything's not okay, or something like
that's
that.
The name of that's the eventual name of the podcast.
Yeah. In Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's because that was the mayor's slogan, was everything is going to be okay.
And I really appreciated the writing, and then how Tina Fey, she's that arrogant, busybody personality. So she was like working, listening to the idea, but giving it no attention until she heard something that was beneficial to her.
Yep.
So as soon as Poppy dropped a decent idea or that title, she like started. I don't know, just the way she acted. Tina acted that scene was perfect.
Missing or killed?
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
the girl.
Yeah.
Is she missing or is she killed?
Mm-hmm.
Missing.
Oh, be honest, what if she were killed? We better hope she's dead.
Let's hope she's dead. That's the only way.
And that's the
work.
Tina Fey that we know. That's the Cinda that we know. Is that right there? That comment solidified everything. There she is.
Right.
She's always been like that.
And Tina Fey was the first like head writer on SNL as a woman head writer or whatever. Yep. So it just seems like she's a good fucking writer, and she is. It seems like this character is like a exaggeration of how she is in the writer's room. Like she takes things very serious, and
I can see that.
It thinks about all those details. I just kind of.
Well, I'm pretty sure she was the one who helped Donald get his go and on 30 Rock and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. She was a writer on 30 Rock. Right?
Donald
Glover was a writer on SNL, right?
He was. That's where he started, and then I think
was he on 30 Rock too?
He was a writer on 30 Rock. And
30 Rock.
Oh shit!
Did a couple things.
Didn't even know he was on 30 Rock.
It was because of Tina Fey.
Yeah,
I believe that.
At least I'm pretty sure.
He got a couple scenes on 30 Rock because he stood in on the table reads. He stood in for Tracy Morgan and just killed it. And Tina was like, "All right, we got to find a character for you. We got to put you on the screen." And then
I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
When we meet present time, so that was the very beginning of the episode.
Yeah, that was the flashback.
Narration,
that was like the intro flashback.
The intro, yep.
That's
cool. It was very pertinent. It was very important. We loved it. It was great. Everything you said, Aaron, I 100% agree.
Same.
And we get her present in the diner, which is their kind of like hot spot. It's where they hang out when they're not in their apartments.
That's where they brainstorm.
That's
or I guess no, that's where they really get down. When they're done brainstorming in the apartment at the murder board, they're like, "All right, we found what we need to talk about. Let's go get some food and figure it out." They
discuss the case in one of the most public places you can find.
That's what I was about to say. It's this midpoint where like they can't think very well, so they gotta go to the diner, and then they start blabbering out all the ideas, and then they go up and they put it on the board. So, they do it in the most public place. They just start saying shit. No wonder they're fans. Like, want to be a part of it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And I noticed something weird because I watched this episode 3 times, and it might not be worth saying, but I saw it in the diner scene. Oliver is talking to Poppy in this certain cadence and rhythm, and Martin Short is just bobbing his head to the rhythm of the dialogue fucking Charles is saying. And comedy and dialogue and music, it all has a beat and a rhythm to it if you want it to get it out right. I just saw him like I wasn't sure if he was just kind of like nervous, like ready to order his dips, and he was kind of famished, or if he was just like rocking to the flow of Steve Martin. I don't know. Either one. I fucking enjoyed this.
I get the impression some of that is like him, like subconsciously, like
being a director.
Doing that and like getting ready to interject when he needs to. Like, you ever do that? Like when you wait for someone to say something, you're like, and like you just move like involuntarily at the same time.
Yeah, it's like a pee dance, kind of like you're waiting for your turn
to
like
talk. That might be some of it. And I don't know if that's like intentional or if that's like an actual Martin Short thing.
I don't know.
That's a good question. I wonder if he has that kind of like tick,
because he's got enough energy to him that you would think that way.
Yeah.
But we get the diner, and what was the most significant thing about that diner scene?
14 Savage.
Well, I mean, significant. I mean, Mabel. gets a call from Detective Williams about the DNA results. We don't find out what the call is actually saying till later on.
Until later.
Yeah.
That was the most important thing. That was why we need to be at the diner, is that call.
Yeah.
For me.
The call
After
and then,
Poppy had left.
leaves. Yeah.
And she ordered this weird sandwich.
Liverwurst and marmalade.
Yeah, which, yeah.
It's
And
the owner's sister's daughter or something like that.
Yeah,
like
favorite
her favorite
dish.
sandwich.
So that's the only reason why it's on there, and
It's
only
like
very
6 degrees
few
of
people.
separation fucking sandwich.
and then we kind of basically after that we get into it.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
get into it's Bunny's apartment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
go.
Yeah, so you move right into Bunny's apartment.
And this is the greatest rest of the episode was in his fucking apartment.
Yeah,
In Bunny's
Yeah.
apartment. This is where everything happened. All the magic. And
killer
it was
reveal
glorious.
party.
To clip something in, the things we figured out that were talked about at the diner were things to make Cinda confess.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I was gonna
how
mention
can we
that.
get under Cinda?
That's
How can we
right.
make Cinda cave like a cave?
Yeah.
Whatever the way he says it, like how do we get her to cave in like a caving in?
It
And
was
she
Some fucking bullshit like that. But
Oh, Martin
that's,
Short's
you
or
know,
Oliver's fucking reaction to that was just like, not again, not this unraveling thing again.
yeah. Yeah. And they
He's
find
like-
they find out how to make it happen. And
Yeah,
it was very like, what the fuck?
yeah. She
yeah.
lists off like 3 very innocuous, like random fears.
And
Like-
what was the first one? Tomato. It was
Well,
The
tomato, I
inside,
think, was
the
the
inside
first
of a tomato.
one. Inside of it.
I
And I
thought
love
slow
what
motion was
Oliver.
first.
What did Oliver
It's like,
say?
oh yeah, I could see that. Slimy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, forget about the outside. With the inside, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
It's just,
We get
and then
that,
it
we
was
get,
the
Slow motion.
slow motion.
slow motion.
Weird.
And then what was the last one?
I don't know if there was a third one.
I don't,
swear
yeah,
there
I
was a
don't.
third
I
one.
don't know. I just remember those 2 things.
Okay, I can't remember either now. I
It
swear
might-
there was a third one, but I
It might
remember
have
now.
been
being
some kind
wrong.
of letting her down as an assistant. I think, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it was
Something.
something.
Well, no,
like that.
that's what they're let's talk about that before they get Poppy. And like, how do we, get under Cinda's skin? Well, we already know somebody that does that. Poppy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's who they were gonna get it. Yep.
Yeah.
But they go into the apartment, Bunny's apartment, and right
Mhm.
away there's all these people from the building that we've seen
Yeah.
in there, like they're throwing a big party.
Except for the
again.
black dude in the suit. What was I'm sitting
He's
on
the
the couch.
therapist. He's the therapist that lives in the building.
Yeah.
We met him this season.
First season at the meeting out after Tim Kono's death.
when they
Oh,
said
yeah.
how
That's
much
when you-
they
that's when we
hate
first- yeah.
Oliver and everybody. They were
Yeah,
just
that's
calling
when you
them
first
out.
meet him. Yeah.
Okay.
He's been around.
but-
He's just not like very
Yeah.
focused
He
on
only
it all.
had like 1 or 2 words.
Yeah, he's also
in
the
this
guy that
whole-
like prompts Howard to go talk to the new resident
the new
Ah.
resident,
for the date. So
Jonathan.
that's
Oh,
the
yeah,
other
first of
way
all-
we know him.
Oh shit. I don't know how Tim go. I don't want you
what
to lose
we get
track.
we get the other building attendants
Yeah.
that we see, and we get the old bitchy lady
Yeah, the lady
we
that's
get-
friends with Bunny who's bitching about cake.
cake.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, she-
Bunny would have gotten the cake from this place.
Mhm.
She'd have had it here
she
already.
would've.
We get
Yeah.
the door guy.
The
door
doorman,
guy.
Leo.
Yeah.
I think
Leo.
his name is.
I think we called him Lester last time that we talked about him too.
Yeah.
I couldn't
It's
remember.
entirely possible. Lester, it's an L name.
Yeah, we made it that far.
Yeah,
We get Howard and
his
the new boy
boyfriend,
toy.
Yep.
Whose name is John?
Jonathan.
I don't know.
Jonathan. That's
It doesn't
what it is,
matter.
Jonathan.
He just needs to stand there and look pretty. That's
Look
what
hot.
Howard told him.
Just stand there
And then
look hot.
the lady that sells gut milk.
got milk.
Oh,
security.
yeah.
Yep.
Her name.
Yeah.
I
You
forgot.
get everybody. Everybody
Yeah,
that
all
we've
the
seen.
cast of characters from the building are in this room except
Yeah.
for Nina.
She was.
Yeah.
I thought she was.
No,
don't
she's
think Nina
probably
was there.
giving birth.
Oh.
She's probably
No,
No,
she
she'd
already
already
had a
given.
kid.
But because remember the
Her water
episode
broke.
before, the blackout episode, like she's
So
getting
maybe
the crib or
she's
whatever.
still in the hospital or something.
No.
Oh.
Oh, maybe she was there. I
The
can't remember.
episode that we talked about, it was just me and you, Aram.
Oh,
where
yeah.
she
Oh,
had a
with the
kid and
blackout.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
That was
the
just me and
blackout. that's when Leo brings up the swing because the baby won't stop crying.
Mhm.
Yep.
So she's had the
Yeah.
kid in his home.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
probably where she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well might be.
The overall, do you guys remember what the title of this party was? Do you
The
remember?
killer reveal party?
Yeah.
The killer reveal party. Is this a party where they're going to reveal the killer, or is this just a party that's
like,
going to be really killer?
Yes.
and they say
they answered it.
They did. They were like, "Hey," and simultaneously, it's a killer party. And they were all like, "Oh, we called it, you son of a
So we were
bitch!"
both. I think somebody was. So we were both kind of right
because before this party starts, they have a little rehearsal type thing, a little gathering, a pre-shift meeting, if you will.
Oh,
like,
this is the straight up audition because they walk in and say, "Hey, we want you to be part of this."
Yeah. And this feels like a fucking writer's room in there when they're writing the show. It felt like wardrobe when Howard was talking about his clothes and everybody's wearing. He's like, boyfriend, you just stand there, be pretty or whatever. It just felt like preparation before the screen. And then we get all that. And then the next you get a close up of Martin Short figuring out the camera show. I mean, live stream. And then
camera show.
Well, and we get the writer or the audition scene because Oliver does what?
Directs.
Well, he walks in the room and he's like, "All right, who's done some acting?"
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the bit
Who's
with
ever
Leo
done
was
theater?
funny. He's like, I did some theater. He's like, I did some off Broadway stuff, and
Oh, really?
like,
I'm
he's
on
like, yeah, I
Broadway
did.
right now.
He was like,
The door
Leo's
guy?
like, oh yeah, I was in this many plays. He's like, oh, what happened? Well, I left the theater and I decided that, holding the door for people was my life's calling. Like, really? Like, no,
Really?
I developed a drinking problem when the roles dried up, and I took the first job I could get.
I've been stuck here ever since.
Yeah.
It was a little more detailed, and they all just go, "Well, that was tragic." Okay.
I think the first person to like shoot up to was Howard. He's like,
Oh,
"Oh,
God,
I've
yeah.
done a little acting,
Yeah.
or a little
He
theater."
did Joseph in the
Really?
Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat
Yeah,
because he keeps trying to sing the song.
yeah. What did you do? Well, it sounds like you didn't get the part.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
but he's
Oh,
on
yeah.
Broadway right now. Oh yeah, yeah. As a hyena.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. He's a hyena in the
boy.
Lion King.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything's
Uh,
established and ready to go. Rehearsal.
Alice shows up.
She
Yeah.
does show up after with a significant role. You kind of hear in the monologue after the fact. Or not
How did you feel
monologue,
about that?
montage?
How did you feel about Alice walking in there? Because it kind of threw me off for a
I was
quick
confused.
second.
Exactly.
It confused me for a moment. I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
Because
well,
the last we saw, she was an enemy. She was.
but this is
Well,
what I mean. like,
Kinda. Because they kind of made up a little bit, but they weren't like,
yeah.
"Hey, let's talk." It was just like, "Just go away."
They'd
that's what I
gotten
mean.
closure to the whole thing. But
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like this whole episode is like, who done it? We still don't know.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
still don't know.
No one
There's
knows.
all these people. It's Clue. There's
Yeah,
all these people.
It's
in the
Clue without
room.
the mansion.
Yeah, we just don't know who.
But for the story and the arc of the artist and the newcomer, the suspect that we had early on in the season, for her to come in and play her part in this performance party was a smart move.
I
And
agree.
We didn't see any of that in rehearsal before. Tina Fey and Poppy popped in.
Yeah,
but
now
It's all
that's
off
where I was going to
screen.
get to.
They're planning.
Why was the whole point of this this party, this killer reveal party?
It's to get it was a ploy to get Cinda to confess.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're
And
gonna get a
then-
confession out of her.
Yeah. Well, and then
And-
Cinda assumes she's there to take confessions. So
Yeah.
she's like, you did it. So I mean, I must be.
See, there was so much off-screen strategizing, it seems, because this is also a way for Oliver to play director and have fun with
Yep.
this.
Do what he
you
does
know?
best.
I think in this
So-
somewhere in this this moment is when Howard starts singing his song from the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and he's like, Howard, not now.
bring
Howard's
it
like,
down,
"Ugh."
bring it down, bring it down. Too
Bring it
much.
And then he tries to do it again, and that one
Yep.
like one angry bitch guy, chick,
Yeah.
just like, Howard, no. Oh.
Yeah.
He just shuts down. She shuts that off, and he shuts
Yep.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, Yeah, and they start coming at Tina. They have her sit in
Yep.
the middle of the room. Actually,
Mhm.
I thought that was great. The way that she entered is exactly the way I imagined an egotistical,
Oh yeah,
high on
With
her
po-
horse,
with Poppy
pedestal.
behind her with all the equipment, just like juggling it
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Like,
and she just walks in there like she's floating on water.
Yeah.
Like she's just.
what does she say? Because she makes it into like her doing a favor. She's like, "Oh, I'm missing my kid's PTA meeting for this. His
Yeah.
teacher's
Yeah.
hot."
This teacher's hot. Yep. It's like, all right, you ready to confess?
Okay, so when they try to reveal that they believe Cinda to be the killer,
Yeah.
and Charles twirls around and points at the wrong person. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
sorry."
I'm disorientated. I got
Me?
disorientated.
Sorry, I got disorientated. Yeah.
That
It
was
was like a
again Steve Martin the shit out of the whole thing.
Yep. It was great. Um,
all 3 times I laughed at that part every time.
So-
You did it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You
And-
that meant you.
So Tina Fey's sitting in the middle of the room in a chair, like she's
Yeah.
the guest star because she is.
Yeah.
And then they have the cameras like,
Mhm.
set up to get her confession as they torture
Yeah.
her. And then she tells Poppy to set up,
Oh, yeah, because they don't have
Stuff.
something set. There was something that they missed that were like, "Oh, we don't have that set up." Like, "Are you okay with the recording?" He's like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." She's like, "Poppy, start recording everything."
Mm.
it's like, what? Oh, what am I? Do you want me to use the boom mic? It's like, whatever. Just record all the smart shit I say and all the guttural shit that they spit out.
She
That's
just
right.
and after that, her body language was like, God, why did I even have to say that? You should fucking
Yeah.
know your job.
Yeah.
That's-
So we emphasize. She just emphasizes her
yeah.
disgust for her
Yeah.
assistant.
Right.
And
Yeah. So yeah, her she goes full throttle with
She
her
does.
arrogant character,
Yep.
personality traits. And it's just it was just not too much. It wasn't too over the top. It was technically, but it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
at this point, we truly believe she is the killer that
Yeah.
they're
Yep.
trying to
I was
reveal as a killer. Like
Mhm.
I had no questions. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. They're revealing it. They just told us that this is it and this is how they're doing it.
I had my questions, but simply because I knew how far along in the episode we were, and I was like, they
Yeah.
can't wrap this that quickly.
Right.
Yeah, there's something that didn't feel right, but once again,
Yeah.
you just don't question these fucking
Yeah, I
movies,
didn't
you
have
know?
anything to question. I was just, but like, I was like, this isn't how this ends.
Now, after the torturing, which was
Yeah. Oof,
how did they do
hilarious.
the
Oh, they
torture?
did the whole room
They did
goes
slow motion.
And then
I love
Tina
that-
Fey's just like sick to her stomach, eyes
I
rolling
love
back.
that Steve Martin does it on his own, and then
Yeah, and
Oliver
then
and Mabel
everybody.
join in.
Yep.
It was so buck.
Did someone faint at this point?
Oh yes, we have the first authentic faint. I believe it was the real faint. He knocks over a lamp. Howard.
Yeah, Howard
Yeah,
faints.
Howard. Did
Yeah.
he faint at this point though?
No, I don't think so.
He faints at the.
He faints a few minutes later when something
Okay,
else
okay.
happens.
Okay.
I was confused and I was like, why did
Okay.
he faint? I couldn't remember if it was
Yeah.
soon.
There's a line he says later that makes you think he faints
Yeah.
more than once. But
I know.
But he they do the slow motion thing and then that doesn't really work. So
she's just like, I'm
Charles,
leaving. He's like, wait.
wait, what does he do?
And he
pulls
wheels a
out
Bring out
tomato
a
over and he starts
fucking
slicing the
podium with
tomato.
a cutting board and a tomato. He's like-
And he's just like,
And
am
he's-
I getting to you, Cinda? Just
He's
holding
doing
them in
this
his hand.
amazing, this
And even-
amazing, creepy dialogue,
and even the flow
almost
from
maniacal dialogue. Why?
Yeah.
just-
Oh.
even the flow from slow motion, the whole party into his dialogue, he like starts off the first few words just like slow, like, and then like I don't know, it was a smooth transition, and then
Oh,
he's
yeah.
just squeezing the tomatoes
He's
after.
just like, juice
He
them.
cuts one tomato in half, starts squeezing both sides, and
and she
and,
loses her shit.
and interrogating the shit out of her with her fucking.
She's just ready to vomit.
Yeah, she loses her shit. At this point, she stands up and
And at this point, I go, yeah, I don't like tomatoes, and I don't like the inside of one. Obviously, is why I
You're
don't like
right.
tomatoes unless it's on a chicken
tomatoes
sandwich
are
for some reason.
disgusting. They're terrifying. So we
Oh,
got this
and
whole enjoyment. What?
We get this. Oh, I don't know. Go ahead, Tim.
All right, good talk.
I get so excited.
We got this whole enjoyment of watching Tina Fey's character
Torture.
Cinda
Reactions and stuff like that.
reaction.
Yeah,
it was definitely over the top, but it was so much fun. It was
Oh God,
it was
yes.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That was the
And
comedic highlight of the episode.
it really was. It really was.
Yeah, her and Steve. Oh, yeah.
But then what did Mabel say?
She
Well, when
breaks the
Poppy's trying to
whole
leave, she's
flow.
like, they're like, wait, Poppy. She's like, or when Cinda's trying to leave, they're like, well, wait. And then Mabel basically goes, she's not the real
Wait.
killer. And then
Wait.
like Charles and Oliver are like, what? What do you mean? Like, I thought we were going
Charles-
some here.
Charles seriously looks at her and just goes, "What are you doing, Mabel?"
We had her on the ropes.
And she goes, "I am solving a murder."
Yeah.
And yeah,
I'm
she
solving
points
a
to
And that's why
murder.
I like to call this a performance party instead of the killer reveal party sometimes, because it is just like obviously like acting
The-
at its worst and best. It's very on the
honestly
nose.
honestly speaking, Cara Delevingne's monologue to Mabel at this point was probably her best acting in this
Yes.
season.
Oh, absolutely.
And it might have helped when
and
Tina Fey was.
nefarious as shit.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
she was. I actually started to believe she was the killer.
Right. They got me
Like
for a second.
I
as
was on the
well.
Yeah.
I was on the hook for.
We
a
didn't even
minute.
say. So Mabel
Mhm.
turned around and said, she's the
Yeah.
killer.
Mhm.
and
And it
blames
pointed
Alice.
at Alice.
Yeah.
And absolutely. At this
Yeah.
point, I'm like, oh, Tina Fey's not the killer? So she's the killer.
Yeah, and I was like, well, that's weird. But like once she started that monologue, I was like, okay, like,
Yeah.
where are we going? And then
'Cause
like
at first I
and
was
then
like,
that-
"You."
the card from the party
Yeah.
is revealed.
Yep.
And I was like,
Still
oh,
bent.
holy
Oh.
shit.
Still with a crease in the middle.
Oh,
I like that.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
I was-
and then she's like, yeah, I did it or whatever. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she like
Yes.
grabs the knife and
Mm-hmm.
tries
That
to
whole thing.
stab Mabel.
But let's not
yeah,
skip.
goes to stab me.
Let's
Hmm?
not skip Cinda's line. She was like, can you like dial down that accent? Because if I can't understand you, Middle America is not going to." I fucking
Yeah, can you dial down that what is that, Australian?
totally
Whatever.
leveled
Oh no,
out.
they
down
say
to
she's
Australian.
that Australian bits later because
Yeah.
she's like being
Oh.
tied up. She's like, I'm English
Yeah.
dick.
Yeah. But that's that Cinda comment like leveled out like the
Yeah.
Tension.
yes.
Yeah,
It brought
yeah.
it back to the show's fucking grounding. And
Most
I
definitely.
just
And it was-
appreciated it.
It was a proper, I
Yeah.
guess, appropriate
Yeah.
line.
So
I
I didn't want to skip that part.
Middle of America can understand it.
I-
Oh, that's fair.
I didn't want to skip that line of dialogue. But
That's
yeah, back
true. That was good.
and then we get ramped up to high tensions between her and Mabel. And then she grabs a knife or has a knife.
She grabs,
she grabs
a
the
knife
knife
out
off
of her
the
bag.
table,
table.
Yeah.
Okay.
which was
Oh,
where the
that's right,
cake
yeah.
was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And turns around and
Oh.
then Charles pushes
Was it the
Mabel out of
knife
the way or
they
gets
cut
in
the
the way.
tomato with? Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know why. Maybe I
don't
don't know
think
why.
so.
I thought she had it in her bag for some reason.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I-
so she goes to stab Mabel, but Charles gets in the way and ends up
Mhm.
stabbed in the stomach himself, and he dies on the floor. This is where Howard really faints, by the way.
Yeah. Yep. This is the
Oh.
authentic faint.
Yeah. Um,
It's a testament to that guy's acting skills.
yeah, right.
Now
when you compare this faint to the next one, because they're both
Charles is stabbed and bleeding
Yeah.
profusely in the
Yeah.
stomach
Because he's been
as
gut,
he falls
he's
to
been
the
gutted.
floor.
Did he have-
Everybody comes down, and even Cinda's like, "Holy shit!" Like, the
Yeah.
fuck? Like,
Yeah.
so we now are revealed that Alice is the killer.
Yep.
You know,
Alice is the
And
killer, and she's been restrained.
she's been restrained. People called 911.
Yeah.
Eventually, he's dead, and they just put a sheet
I think
over him.
they put a sheet over him like
Yeah.
a TV show.
He doesn't say any final words, does he?
No, he just sort of like
Okay, he just
smiles
kind of looks at him.
Oliver,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and dies.
Yeah.
And
There was like a teaser of like a meaningful moment, and then it just kind of
Yeah.
stopped.
at this point, who starts acting a little weird? Now, let me say this because every fucking person in this room is acting weird, but
Even the bird.
who's acting a little bit
Well-
out of character more than everybody else?
Well, Poppy is slightly taken aback by the whole thing, but what really sets her off is listening to Cinda tell Mabel that she could use someone like that, like her on her
Yeah.
team.
Okay,
And she's
so
like, you could
we
maybe
go
have
right
your
to
own
there, yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
And that is where Poppy
Mhm.
comes uncorked.
And upon watching it 3 times, yet I feel like Cinda was involved on the strategy because she was saying certain words like,
Oh
"Hey,
yeah, she was
Poppy,
definitely involved.
Poppy, you hear what I'm saying?" She was directing certain words like, "You could have your own podcast." She was like
Yeah.
talking to Poppy and
definitely.
Mabel at
Cinda
the
was-
same time.
Cinda was definitely involved. Like
Yeah.
the especially at the end, like after all is said and done, like with the cops, like you really get the
Yeah,
impression that Cinda was involved. Like
I guess that's very true, very established. But
And the tone of this
Yeah.
section
Conversation.
shifted gears into that serious moment.
yeah.
As serious as we could take, because as soon as Charles got stabbed, we hear the theme music pop up,
Yeah.
right? And it's just like serious, sad.
yeah,
No.
somber.
Yeah. I mean, shit, Charles is dead. And our minds go, well, what's going to happen in season 3?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, oh for sure.
What?
All flashbacks.
Because I will honest to God say, I was like, oh, as soon as he got stabbed, I'm like, no, like what? No, like
Right.
it's really hard not to get sucked into this fucking show.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But when we hear Cinda tell Mabel, oh yeah, I could really use you on my show. You can have your own podcast.
You got a knack for this. You're a
You got a knack,
natural.
yeah. And fucking Poppy just loses it. She comes
Yeah, she's
uncorked.
like,
like
oh,
you
don't
said.
even. Like, and she kind
Don't
of just
even.
drops the equipment and like, basically lays out like, I came to you with this, the
Yeah.
Rose Cooper thing. You called it a fart. You turned it into a flying fart joke.
Yep.
And
And
blah,
that-
blah, blah.
Right there, that Rose Cooper. We have all these side things, all these little side quests, all
Yeah.
these little segues. And
All
we're
these
like,
pieces
what's
are
the
like, what did it all
point?
mean? Yeah.
Yeah. What's the point of all of this shit that we saw? Is it just for entertainment value? Is it just to bring suspects in, and question everything? And we finally get it. The Rose Cooper thing. That was because the first thing I'm like, oh, that's why that's a story. And then that hold card thing really worked out. Like they bring
everything-
that card thing back.
They did a great job of capping everything off.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah. So through this dialogue, it's revealed that like, Poppy's kind of going off, and then she's starts to react to Mrs. Gambolini, who is out of her cage.
Yep.
And she keeps sneezing, and all of a sudden she's like, "Do you have an allergy to birds?" She's like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah. Like, oh, this the killer.
she sneezes. Somebody says, I think bless you or something. It's like, and then she sneezes again.
And then
It's like,
Cinda says, "You know my rule. If you sneeze twice in my presence, you need to self-quarantine for a
It's a
week."
week. It's a week of self quarantine. Yep.
And I thought that was a good COVID joke.
I thought that was a good one. Yep.
And she's just like saying it over everything
Yeah,
else that's going
yeah,
on, not even
yep.
like paying attention to it.
And that was when Oliver said, "Oh, do you have an allergy?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah, at this point it was very clear like Poppy fell into the snare and they just had to
Close
let
the
it ride
noose.
out and,
Yep.
and then let her
spill her guts.
confess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And she
Yeah.
did. She fell
so-
into the
does it very,
traps.
very easily.
So I is there an answer to why Poppy wasn't sneezing the whole time prior to
Because Mrs. Gambolini wasn't out of the cage or anything.
Okay, or
until,
not
like,
close proximity.
I was gonna say, not to mention, Poppy was on this side of the room. The bird
Yeah.
was over
Yeah,
here.
and then the
So-
bird,
so
the
the
bird
closer
eventually
she
makes
got-
its way to the middle of the room while Poppy is
okay,
doing her
confessing.
little
Oh.
pop off, and that's when she
Yeah.
starts to sneeze.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a movement thing.
Yeah, yeah,
We've heard
They
that
weren't
sentence
initially.
before.
right.
Oh yeah, it's not uncommon to have allergies for flying rats,
Or no,
Yeah.
she said
something like that.
bird droppings or something like that. It was about yeah.
And it's just like, oh, you can't believe a girl hiding in the walls. Oh,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
didn't say anything about a girl hiding.
Yeah, we didn't tell you
in the
about any of
walls.
that. And her
Only
name is
the
Lucy.
killer would have known that there was
Yep.
a girl hiding in the walls. And Mabel says that girl's name's Lucy. I don't know. That was
Yeah.
a
It was just this weird sort
weird
of like,
add-on. It was kind of whatever,
yeah,
but
she's not just a girl.
once again, it's a
So-
performance party.
So
Not
Everybody
So-
played their part.
Mhm.
And Howard had to make it very clear that he only fainted really once.
Right. And that's after Charles has jumped up to insert himself
Yeah.
in the conversation somehow.
Okay, Howard faints fakely after Charles gets up.
stab.
or-
I don't
Maybe it
know
was a
which
stab.
one he faints for real at. It's either
For
the stab or
real?
when he pops up. But
Yeah, I don't know. I
Fuck
don't
yeah!
know.
Now that I don't, it doesn't matter. That guy.
But at this point, Charles is up. He comes back up.
yeah,
He
he pops
goes-
back up and
He
is like,
inserts
yeah,
himself. Yeah. And I think that is
Mhm.
when he faints for fake.
that's like, yeah, it might be
So-
the second feint.
So he might have gotten,
Yeah.
he made a feint.
the one-hit
during the
wonder
first
of
time to
faints, the
stab.
Nickelback of fainting.
Yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, so Charles isn't dead.
Right.
And
Season 3 is saved.
he's
Right.
saved. Woo. Miracle. Now there's a season 3.
But yeah,
Poppy
so-
confesses. Kind of,
Mhm.
basically.
At
Confesses.
least,
Yeah,
at least
she-
implicates herself to the
she
point
gets
where she
backed
can't get
into
out
a
of it.
corner. She was like, "Yeah, I did it," or whatever the fuck, and starts making weird reasonings. I guess
Yeah.
And as soon as that does happen,
the police.
Cinda reveals that she was a part of the plan.
yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they kind of do a quick flashback about meeting and all this stuff. But
Mhm.
then
oh yeah, yeah,
we
the
see
bar.
Detective Williams busting through the door.
Mhm.
And
believe this
who's
is when
out
you
in the
get-
haughey?
Detective Krebs. Krebs is out there.
Krebs.
Yeah. I
Yep.
didn't realize he was in handcuffs at first.
Yeah.
But I think at this point or right before this is when we get the flashback to the cafe
Yeah.
after Poppy leaves, when
Yeah.
Mabel comes and sits down and says,
Oh,
the
14th.
DNA on that knife is from somebody that's been dead for however long,
Well, I
from
think-
way
yeah.
out of state.
I think
It's like,
she
let me
says.
guess, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, 14
yeah,
Savage.
how'd
I
you
think I
know?
know what 14 Savage
yeah,
meant.
there we go.
Yeah.
It's like, what? 14 sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Bunny always called that freak food.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Did
that
I
was the
take her
piecing
order?
together scene moment. It was brilliant. It was so
Yeah, it was
fucking
really
good.
good.
It was really good. Didn't waste any time. They were able to piece it in there so smoothly. We loved it. We fell into the trap, just
Mhm.
like Poppy,
And I think
Mhm.
Krebs.
aka Becky.
I like to think Krebs was like part of the team of police to go answer this call, and then was tricked into like, all right, fucker, we know you're the suspect now as well. Like him being in handcuffs wasn't really justified outright
Of like why he was
with
there.
the writing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
in
I
so
get you.
I'm trying to fill in the gaps, and I was just kind of curious.
That's
if you
actually
guys
not a bad point. Yeah,
agree
that
with
could
me?
be-
He thought he was part of the squad. They get to the destination, and then they're
Yeah.
like, "Hey, fucker!"
Killing two birds with one stone
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
And I
Good.
actually gets a
And
very
he-
valid point. I think that's
Yeah.
But, and I guess
And
they do that with flashbacks, but it's
Yeah.
just-
Well, and he also came kind of unglued a little bit in that scene because the
Oh,
second they
yeah.
take Poppy in handcuffs, you see him kind of
Yeah,
like
he's
lashing out, like
yeah,
he's trying to get to her. It's like you can see
Yeah.
him mouthing like "I love you" and stuff to her.
yeah,
So like,
'cause
and-
you find out that when in sparring partner, the episode
Mhm.
9, we talked
Yeah.
about this, how they were at a diner with like chicken and stuff, whatever.
the chicken
And-
club, the bar.
And he
Oh, yeah,
was like
yeah.
looking off, and we were seeing
Mhm.
Tina Fey's character, Cinda.
yeah.
Like, but really, we get
He
that
was looking
same
at
view in this
Poppy.
episode, but it
Mhm.
And
was
moves
looking
right over to Poppy.
over,
Mhm.
and it was Poppy.
Well, and then you get
Mhm.
the flashback of them in their little apartment, I assume,
Yep.
in the gym, and he's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you deserve this. Like, she's old. Like, she's
Yeah.
the old guard. Like,
And
you're
you're
the
the
new
new-
stuff. You're
yeah.
so smart." And she's like, "Oh, did
Mhm.
I tell you about the tunnels I found in the buildings?" Like, you did. Like, you're so fucking smart.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, so you get that bit of them like plotting.
And you get the answer of she's the smart girl he was talking about in the ring with Mabel
Yeah.
in episode 9.
And once again, we thought it was Tina Fey.
Oh,
They made
yeah.
us think
Oh,
it was Tina Fey.
all
Just
signs
like
point
that-
to Tina
episodes.
Fey.
Just like that camera angle or choice in the cafe or the chicken club or whatever. We thought he was staring at Tina Fey the whole time he was staring at Poppy, but
Yeah.
they didn't let us know that until now.
Well,
and
Krebs
that's
is
just
portrayed.
how this show works. They
Krebs
fuck
is
with us.
portrayed as this, while not
A du-
completely
uh,
dumb, a
a-
very like
a
a very
pawn.
low. Yeah, he's a
pawn,
pawn, and
yeah.
he's very like. He's not painted as the most intelligent guy, so like, it's easy to see. It's easy to the way, especially the way they did it. It's easy to make it look like Cinda has that sort of sway over him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or that she
absolutely.
could, I should say.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they said that he doesn't have the
Yeah.
intelligence to be the mastermind, but
Right.
definitely a pawn.
He's
And which
muscle
makes
more than
sense
anything.
because he's such a doofus and a
Mhm.
pawn that Cinda wouldn't love this character, this personality.
no.
There's no way they would be soulmates. But
It's
Poppy
even a
and him,
class. Just a
Exactly.
class. She's up here.
Yeah.
He's way
But
down there.
Cinda's
Poppy
very
and him,
elitist.
Yes.
that makes sense.
Yep.
So I was happy with the reveal and the sense it made.
Yep. Agreed.
If we're
So,
done
yeah.
with the detectives, they arrest Poppy and
Poppy
Krebs.
and
And,
Krebs, yep.
Tim?
The killer reveal party. They
It was a
revealed
real
the
killer
killer,
reveal.
and it was killer.
And that's a wrap.
And that was a wrap.
On that
And then
part,
you
at
know
least.
the moment it was a wrap is when Detective whatever closes the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
I figured you'd like that,
Done.
Tim, because of
Yep.
Dungeons and Dragons. We always close our doors.
We always close the door. We leave a
No,
room, we
you-
close
you
the door.
never leave
There may
a-
not
but-
even be a house, but if there's a
Yeah.
frame and a door, we'll close it.
You never leave a door open
in
D&D.
shows, a lot of times they just leave the door open all the
true.
time. And for some reason, the way she closed the door just stood out to me. It's probably because
This
of
is
Dungeons
case
and
closed.
Dragons.
Case
Oh
closed.
wow, nice.
Case closed. Yep.
That's a
They
wrap.
shut the
Yep.
door on that. Yep.
Nice. I like that.
But this isn't the end of the episode, is it?
Nope.
No.
No.
Nope.
What happens now?
So
well,
the next,
I guess
Oh, we get
Before-
their episode. They record their podcast episode in the show.
they do that. Yep. They do their
Coinciding with
little
Cinda's.
recording thing. Also, Oliver and his son
Willie.
have a
Yeah.
conversation,
Uh-huh.
and that conversation was he was going to open up
Hold
about.
on.
Yeah, he was going to tell Willie about the fact that he's not biologically, and Willie cuts him off. Says, "If you're not my dad, then I don't know what a dad is."
Yeah.
And then he goes to say,
Yeah,
I know all your
just-
tells.
it got
He
me
goes,
right
I know
here.
all your tells. That was the moment that fucking I'm having chills right now. Just
Yep.
fucking
I know your
yeah.
tells.
reiterating. Because the prior episode.
Beautiful moment.
Yeah.
it was great.
Oh,
And
father
he-
son moment.
and once again, that moment when Oliver realizes he might not be the father, he drops the dip or stares at the dip or
Yeah.
Mhm.
same emotional performance and impact here. When
Yeah.
his son said that, he was just like, that was beautiful. I'm speechless. Thank you. I love
Yeah.
you too. You know, he
Yeah.
said all that with his fucking face.
Yeah,
And then his phone rings
Yeah.
Yep. and he gets a call from
from a
somebody
Broadway
somebody
person.
he
Yeah, that
owes
knew.
money to.
Somebody.
yeah, because he
Oh,
makes
what do
some
I
sort
owe
of
the
co-
call? Yeah.
To what do
yes,
I?
I do
yeah,
owe you a lot of
lot of money.
But is that why you're calling?
Yeah.
Uh,
So-
before we
Oh,
go
in a
to
year?
the next part,
Yeah.
before we go to the next part, oh sorry.
Nope.
Before we go to the next part, they're recording their final episode for the podcast within the show. It does coincide with Cinda's and whatever.
Mhm.
Yep.
But and then they say, okay, murders back to back. That's all done. Now we can learn to be real friends or talk to each other like real people instead of only about murders. And they just have this quick awkward moment of like,
A little silence. or
don't
like,
got much to say unless we got murders to talk about.
Yeah.
I
And it
really
was just
enjoyed
real friends have nothing to say.
I really enjoyed Cinda's plug of Gut Milk Light, which has
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the same
The
great
crunch.
flavor without the suspicious crunch.
I don't know. I thought you guys, I don't know. That shit was funny. And it totally
I
made
was.
sense for the show for them to be like, oh shit. Like a realization moment. Like, do we have anything to talk to each other about if
Do we
there's
even
no
know each
murders
other?
going on? Yeah.
Who are you?
Do we
Yeah.
even know each other exactly?
What
All
are
right.
you
And
doing
then
in my house?
all right,
You see Alice come to visit Mabel, and she's redecorating, like renovating the apartment finally.
Yep. The
yeah.
renovation.
she-
Oh yeah.
so
yeah.
it's character growth for Mabel to say like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I've moved on from my traumas. Like I can move
Mhm.
forward."
Yeah,
It's
I thought that
time.
was great. Closing
That was a great- yeah.
the door
Oh,
on that
God,
too.
yeah.
There's a lot of
Yep.
closing doors in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Do we go to Charles and the movie set yet?
Yes.
We get-
Yeah,
we-
this
we-
is this is all wrapped up. Like you
Okay,
actually,
this is before the
Mabel
year
and
later,
Charles-
right?
Yep.
The Mabel and Charles scenes are before Oliver
Okay,
scene.
cool.
So
I didn't. I
Yeah,
thought
we
it
get
was-
Charles
Char-
on the movie set of Brazo.
and his daughter's
and-
apparently like an assistant or
Yep,
a
Lucy.
page or something like that.
yeah,
Lucy.
probably a page would be
You
my
got a
guess.
headset and yeah.
And what do they say when he walks on set?
And he's like, "Oh, where's my wheelchair?" He's like, "Oh, didn't you get the notes?" It's like, "Oh no, I don't have like one line." He's like, "Oh, the studio loves the fact that you've been cleared. Like, you're in full remission." He's like, "It's a miracle."
No, he said, "Yeah, you're out of the
Welcome back to
chair
the land of
and
the
your
walking.
dementia is in full remission. It's a or like a something miracle." It was just like, because there's no going back. Once you have that, it's impossible to go back. There's no. It's a miracle cure. That's what he says. Then I thought that was funny because that's just unheard of. So, but that writing of that show is ridiculous.
And then he tries to ask, what's the name of the makeup artist?
Joy?
Joy?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think it's Joy.
It brings him joy. She does. So yeah.
So like he tries to, and he's just like, and she just like,
are you trying to ask me out?
He's like, yeah.
And
tonight, he's like, tonight,
yeah. And doesn't he look a little silly? He's like too much makeup going on. Like his eyes are puffy.
He's
like,
so like his costume is so like up
he's wearing a leather
his chin.
jacket.
And he's wearing a turtleneck with it.
And
he's got a leather jacket and a turtleneck.
And movie makeup. Yeah, it's just
so like he just looks
that on top of his uncomfortable delivery of like then she fills in the gap and then she of the dialogue.
She's like, "Oh God, I like."
She's like, "I'm so happy you finally got it out." And he didn't say a word.
Yep.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I loved that too.
That was great. That was really.
She's like, "Are you asking me out? Tonight? Are you saying yes?" It was a great closing of door for his character and what he needed after his last relationship.
He did not get a nosebleed.
Oh, nice. Good point.
Yeah. So he's definitely grown as a person.
Yeah.
These scenes are all character growth for like everybody.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Now we can go into
1 year later.
A whole year.
So Oliver is trying to get Ben, I believe the name is, out of his dressing room. I think his name is Ben.
Yes.
I don't. Yeah, Ben.
Okay.
And
who happens to be?
Who comes out? Ant-Man himself, Paul Rudd.
Ant-Man is
comes out just pissed.
I've seen a movie. He was a pimp once with a funny mustache in the future.
Did you watch that movie, Mute?
I did watch
it's good,
most
isn't
of it? Yeah, it's
different.
It's very different.
Oh, Mute?
Yes,
Mute,
yeah.
That movie is very interesting.
Yeah. He plays a really creepy, terrible human being with a big old Bowie knife.
Yeah. It's a captivating
that's one of the
movie.
Skarsgård boys. That's the lead.
Alexander. Yep.
Yeah.
Plays a mute Amish guy, woodworker.
Yeah.
Who's in love with a prostitute.
He's a bartender.
Works in a bar. He's a bartender.
But he's Amish.
Yeah.
Was he
and
Amish,
he builds.
It's just hard to
real wood. Anyway, we're not talking about that movie.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
We're talking about Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, and he's in his Dick Tracy outfit. So
he's got a trench coat and a fedora.
He looks good as a detective noir. Like I wouldn't take him 100%
He's got
serious.
The jawline right,
but
he does.
Yeah, he does. He fits the trench coat and the hat.
He looks good in black and white.
Yeah,
he would look good in black and white.
I would give you.
Yeah. Okay.
So Oliver's like, oh,
so would I.
He's trying to calm him down. For something, he's like, hey, I don't have a problem. It's the other guy, fuck bag. Yeah. So we don't know who the other guy is yet. He just calls him fuck bag.
Fuck bag.
Basically, he's like, oh yeah, like better keep him under control. I'll fucking kill him.
Mm-hmm.
That's an
He's
idea.
like, did he apologize? Because Oliver's like, I talked to him. You guys will be fine. He's like, did he apologize? Well, not really.
He's like, oh, go out there. Oh,
break a leg.
That's an idea.
And then he goes out into the stage. The curtain's down. He's
getting ready. He's
getting up his
fixing his trench coat.
And the guy walks on and he just pauses. Just starts going. And who is it?
It's Charles.
And he's in his dark.
Yeah, he's also in a trench coat and fedora. I think he's got a scarf.
So Dick Tracy.
Yeah, he's got a scarf. But yeah, Dick Tracy never wore a black trench coat. That's the thing.
He definitely doesn't look like that. Paul Rudd looks a little more Dick Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no shit. My question is, before we wrap this up, so before it goes to a year later, we get the phone. Oliver gets the phone call, and he's like, "All right, cool. This is the plan. You want me to do what? And who's the star?" And he gets really excited. Do you think he's excited that Charles is the star or Paul Rudd is the star?
I would assume Paul Rudd because Paul Rudd seems like the lead.
I'm thinking
Mhm.
Charles for some reason.
No, my
don't
guess
know.
is because I think at that point, if they had already approached Charles, Charles would have said something. And my other thought is, I don't know that Charles is a Broadway guy.
Yeah.
He's
He's
not
a
even
TV guy.
He's not even a TV guy, to be honest.
Right.
It's very
so, I mean,
true.
so I think that's
And
one of those
it
things.
is-
I think he was probably
and
more
it's-
in tune with Paul Rudd.
It's a contradiction for him to be excited for Charles to be the star because he's always dissing on him. Like,
Right.
hey, if you want to torture someone, pick your top 10 stories and go to town,
Yeah.
Charles.
Yeah.
Fucking, you know.
If you want to
he's
make
been-
this
he's
show
been-
terrible,
He's been making those jokes the whole time. So I was just kind of like secretly hoping like he, I don't know, was excited to work with Charles. But you're probably right. It's Paul Rudd.
yeah, I'm.
I
pretty
think it'll
sure
be
it's that
interesting
too.
the way
It was just
that
a fun-
Charles gets cast into the play or
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
Because I think that'll be of interest to us. But I think
Mhm.
his initial excitement was the fact it was Benny or
Yeah.
Paul Rudd's character.
Yeah.
Benny.
You're right.
I think that is
just
right.
thought
I think it's Ben. Benny.
Ben,
Benny.
yeah,
Ben or
Benny,
Benny,
yeah.
one of the two.
But when Charles comes up on stage, he says
Mhm.
what? He goes, "Good luck."
He says, "Good luck." He's like, "Hey, thanks."
That-
Good
that's a
luck
curse
is
on the
bad. Is a
stage.
curse in the theater.
Theater.
And
Yeah.
you don't think
He's
I
like-
don't know that? You piece of shit.
And Paul Rudd is kind of like bad acting, right? He's like purposely
Oh yeah, this is purposely
Acting
written
decent.
that way.
right. Okay, cool.
He's doing the role right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
got this
he's
weird
playing-
stutter. Like
He's playing a guy that thinks he's better than what he is.
He kind of reminds me of Edward Norton's character in Birdman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of how I felt when I saw him come up on stage.
It
Dude-
took me a minute to remember that, but yeah.
Yep. Did
Yep.
you? What do you get? Did we get a sense of what this play is about? Was it part of the
Uh,
murders thing? Or
So
no?
you get from Paul Rudd's monologue that he tries to
Yeah.
deliver. He's like, "What would make me become a creature of the night?" So I believe
Some kind of werewolf.
this is like a detective noir vampire or werewolf
Okay.
Yeah.
play.
All right.
I'm leaning
I think he
more
says
towards
it.
vamp.
I think
I'm
he
thinking
said. I think
he
said
calls
what
himself a
it
creature
was.
of the night. I don't think he ever says werewolf or vampire. I think he just calls himself a creature of the night.
Okay. I could have sworn
then-
he did say it was like a werewolf thing, but I don't know. I don't remember.
I just
Yeah.
remember a creature of the night, and that's why I'm leaning more towards vampire because I think making a werewolf for like a theater show is probably a little problematic.
Yeah, that
they made
transformation would be a lot
Wolf
more
Cop.
difficult to pull off.
What was that?
They made Wolf Cop.
Oh,
I
but
thought
did
you
they do
said-
that on stage or
I thought
like
you said mall
Practically,
cop.
it's a B-rated film.
valid enough?
But
Hell yeah.
he starts to do his monologue and he
Yeah,
like
he-
pauses and then he starts to
Because
cough
he's
a
like
little
he's
bit,
clearing his throat a lot, and
Mhm.
and
Yeah, he's-
then what happens?
he starts to
Oh,
collapse. He
heavens.
goes, "Help me!"
And you guys have to agree.
Like
You
he
knew it was poison
falls
before
over.
it was
Oh,
it was
and
obvious.
Oliver
but, yeah.
runs up on
Absolutely.
stage. Yeah. Oliver runs up. He's running towards stage. Charles comes up on stage. He's like,
Mhm.
"He's dead!"
yeah.
And Mabel stands was
He's
like,
not moving.
"Fuck!"
yeah. Fuck.
Oh, her last line of she has the last line of the episode, and that is, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I
Yeah.
thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, we have to do this again with these guys."
The one
Ah,
thing-
fuck. And there's no way not to do it. Like, it's gonna happen. So
The one thing I'm going to draw
The
back
ending is-
to,
the ending is poison.
the one thing I'm
For
going to
her.
draw back to, is in the conversation between Benny and Charles. Charles says, "Stay away from her if you know what's good for you."
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, like why?" He's like, Benny says something back. He's like, "I know all your secrets."
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
"I know what you did," or something like that. And then
Yeah.
like,
Who
Benny
you
dies.
with or
The
something like
title
that.
of the episode. I know.
yeah,
whatever
I know
the
who
fuck
did. Yeah, and that might be a callback there. But so
that- Yeah.
that'll be the intrigue. That's the opening salvo of intrigue for the next season.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is who is Charles referring to?
Who the fuck is he talking about?
Because you
Yeah.
have I have
Who's her?
there's three people you can be talking about. There's either it's Lucy, Mabel, or Joy. I don't think it's going to be Joy. So you have Lucy or Mabel being the problematic interactions.
Mm.
But
And
we
as
don't
far as I
know,
know, no, we
because
don't
there's
know.
a whole year gap that we didn't get any.
Yeah.
Exactly.
any
So that's
information
going to be
from.
there's going to be a lot of flashback.
And
So-
that's a good. Do you guys have any wants, predictions, or needs for season 3? What you expectations?
It's really.
I'm
I think it's
very
really
just-
tough to say that there's something I want or need because they're providing it already. I don't know what I want or need until I see it.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
with the way they're writing and with what they're doing, like you can't there's no point in getting on that train of like, well, this is what I want, because they're going to give you what they're going to give you and it's going to work. They've shown it for 2
Absolutely.
years.
All right, yeah. Probably I asked the question
okay,
terribly, but
actually,
I'll
I
tell
do.
you what I want and need. What's up, Tim?
No, what were you gonna say?
I want Oliver and Cinda to work together in the next season because Oliver gives her so much praise because when they're in the beginning of the episode, he's just like, oh my god, that's commitment. Like I never would have taken that far, but he's just so much respect, and like it happens like 2 or 3 times in the episode and even season. He was just like, he really likes or respects this lady's work ethic and commitment and stuff like that. And then them in the same room at the end in the performance party, I was just like, I just want them to like work on an episode or I think figure Tina out, be a part of this.
Tina Fey and Martin Short would be rather hilarious because Tina Fey is very much a lot like Steve Martin.
Yeah, especially this character.
Glasses and all.
Yeah. Tina Fey is probably the modern day female version of Steve Martin, and
I thought that was Jane Lynch.
Oh,
well put. And that's probably one of the biggest pieces of praise I can give to Tina Fey, honestly speaking.
Yeah.
But if their podcasts somehow coincide with each other, because this murder didn't happen in the building. So maybe they have to branch out and work with her in season 3 and then work with her. And I look forward to them two being on screen together. And
the building moves over and the building becomes the theater and everything revolves around.
That is a building. That is a building. Yeah.
That would be the other way to run that.
That is a building. Yep.
It's got history, just
4
like
walls,
the other
a door,
building.
structure, roof. That's a building. And there's a murderer in there.
Believe it or not, I know how to draw a building. Tim just taught me how.
The one thing I want and need is I want there to be no more Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
And I need there to be no more Amy Schumer.
Not even a dead photo.
Because she literally the only episodes that weren't 5s was the ones with her in it.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, and we've got the new running guest as Paul Rudd.
Yeah, hopefully we get some backstory. The year
I have to believe we'll get more of Paul Rudd.
Yeah. In flashback, variety.
Okay with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, for
sure.
I
like me some Paul Rudd. I like some cornbread and green beans.
That's Ryan Reynolds and Paul Rudd together.
No, we said that wouldn't work. It'd be too much funny trying to happen.
They can figure it out. Steve Martin can figure it out. Tina Fey can figure it out. I'm
not
hungry.
the same.
I'm gonna say
the writers is what I meant. You fuck faces. All right. I'm defensive.
Did you guys?
I feel like I lost.
Did you?
It's because you did.
I did.
Did you guys think that this was from the progression of the first season to now all together? Do you think that this is one of those shows that will just get better? Do you think that possibly next season would be just as good? Because it's really tough. You know, after the first, when you have a good show, like the first season, you're like, okay, that's the introduction. Sometimes it's a little rough. You know, it's not the greatest. But by the second season, they've kind of pulled the kinks out and you get a little bit smoother, you know. But this is one of those series is that I don't think that it's going to be a 5-season series necessarily. Hopefully it could go that good, but sometimes you need to cut it off at 3 seasons or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And I'm glad you brought this up because a lot of series, season 3 is their worst one. They're kind of in a corner. They don't know how to get out of it. And sometimes the first season is like working the way out of kinks or figuring it out. And sometimes the first season is all their good ideas. So after that, they're like, fucking, what? How do we follow that? We didn't expect people to love it or whatever the fuck. But this show, I am not concerned. I don't want it to go on forever, but I am not like the way they treated this season. They know who they are. They know who their audience. They know how it's an interactive show in a sense. The way they're subtle fourth wall jokes, like they don't talk to us. They don't She-Hulk us, but they are talking to us in this fucking subtle way, and it's just they know who they are. The writing's smart.
Let me throw a contra subtly and blatantly.
Right?
Because it is a very subtle, but it's also like in your face at the same time.
Yeah.
How is that even a thing?
And that's why I want to use the word interactive.
Yeah.
I think,
but yet I can't interact with it. But that's I don't know. It feels that way. Yeah, it's a very hard thing.
I know what you're saying.
It's a very unique show, and I am not worried about season 3. And
yeah, I think
it's going to be great.
I think honestly speaking, even if it's not better, as long as the writing hasn't gone down at all, I'll be entertained.
Okay.
Like I think it could. I don't think it will, but I think it could coast and do.
Yeah.
Like the writing may not improve, but like they could do some. But I would be okay with it because this was written well enough. If they even augmented just a little bit of the stuff to make it a little bit different, it's still a good story. And like you can augment stuff without doing a whole lot of shit different. But I don't think that's what'll happen. I think they will continue to improve. I'm also of the mind I don't need it to run for 10 seasons.
No,
God,
I don't think I need to run. I don't think I need it to run more than 5.
And that's what I was saying.
I think 5 would be right around where you should end it.
I feel like this is one of those shows where they could make that decision at season 3 and we're good.
Yeah.
You know? Like if it goes to another season, maybe, but like this isn't one of those shows that needs to be forever.
Yeah.
It's if they write good material, let it play out as it plays out, and that's it. But
that's how
too many times they got to force it or force another season, and that's where you can always tell.
And I feel they're taking this show as serious as we are, you know, writing it or creating it. So I feel they're gonna feel if they fucking found the end of the road, they're gonna be like, all right, that's it. We're not gonna force it.
Yeah.
So if season 3 is the last season, that's that. So and these guys, Steve Martin, they got the fucking experience and the clout to be like, I don't care how popular this show is. We're done. The story's done. They're not going to listen to executives like they did with the show Lost. The writers there, they wanted to be done at season 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
But the executive was like, no, this shit's fucking so famous. You have to continue to write. And they didn't have the clout to tell them no.
But that's the power of Steve Martin
and
Martin Short.
Exactly.
They have that power, especially Steve Martin, because he is
no one's going to tell them no. No exec is going to tell them no.
Yep. He's the creator and a primary character.
They're also
he has a say.
They're also old enough and smart enough to probably have made sure that they're not boxed into being forced into making.
I'm sure they have it in writing. They can bow out whenever. Yep. They know contracts. They've been in this game too long.
One of the things that I got to say is on my end about that is I'm not concerned either. But one thing that I have viewed so far, and I'm going to ask you guys a question in a minute, but each season, the first season that we got, entirely different than the second season. They did a continuation, but entirely separate.
Yeah.
And that's what made this so unique was that first season was nothing like the second season.
Right.
You know,
and
I believe that the third season won't be anything like the second season. So they're identifying these seasons,
especially if it's in a different building.
God damn it,
so
Jason.
My question about that is, out of season 1 and 2, do you have a favorite season now that we've come to full, end? Did you like the first season more? Did you like second season more?
I guess we are nitpickers, but I don't know. Just
a preference. Like, if you had to rewatch season 1 or season 2,
my safe answer is this is my favorite show.
I
don't know. I don't know. I have to rewatch. I don't know. This makes me want to rewatch season 1.
So it's
this question.
difficult.
This question does.
I think if you are looking for comedy versus mystery, you're probably better off watching the first season.
Yes.
Okay.
I think this mystery is better done. And I think the writing is better in this for mystery. That's not that there's not comedy in this, and not that I didn't laugh a lot, but I think the first season is probably more comedy heavy than this season is. The jokes are more they mean more in this season. Like when they land a joke, they don't just throw jokes at it. Not
Had a
that they were
little more
throwing jokes
attention
in
to it, yeah.
yeah, not that they were throwing jokes in the first season, but they were using more jokes.
But they
Will
were
the
also
first
doing a
season
little
be
bit
more
more of a
sitcom-y?
character feel too. So it's still character
Yeah,
development. So we were still
and-
trying to figure out the characters a little bit more.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
So you
and
could
that-
get
and
away
that's-
with throwing some shit here and there and have no purpose
exactly.
to it.
And I think that's where you need to look at preference. Like it depends on what you're looking for.
So
you're in
what's
the
your
mood for.
preference?
Oh,
That's what I'm asking. I'm asking
was-
if you had to watch.
well, I know. I was
Which
giving
one
an
would
answer
you
I
wanna
thought would
watch
get me out of
first?
answering that question.
I mean, I think we're all in agreement that we would watch it all. It just
Yeah.
like I agree with you, Jason. After finishing this, I want to watch the
Well,
first season again.
Your question, and obviously you're finishing this, and then your question, then Aaron's fucking answer or half a deflection of an answer fucking makes me want after whatever you were trying to get out is shut up. It's and well done, but it made me realize that I know these characters so well at this point after season 2. I'm curious to go back and watch season 1 and see, I don't know, how it feels and if it's different than I felt the first time around watching it.
I think,
But I do agree that the first season is more sitcom-y when it comes to the jokes, maybe.
kind of yeah.
Yeah, and this in the season 2 does take the mystery, the game of Clue a lot more
Oh, more serious, yeah.
I think
I
if I
agree.
have to answer Tim's question, I'm going to say my preference is probably season 2
Mm.
because the writing is improved. I think I like the mystery being more prevalent. Not that it wasn't prevalent in the first one, but I think it's more prevalent. I think there's more to it than the first one.
yeah.
So I would have to say I probably enjoy season 2 more than I do season 1.
Okay. So you're season 2.
Mhm.
Jason, you're saying season 1.
I was hoping. No, I'm not. I'm saying that
You're saying
I
you don't
want-
want to answer the question.
I was trying to deflect or trying to bow out, I guess, or run away. I
let me
want to
answer
say
mine
season
then.
2 because of the fourth wall, subtle jokes, the playing with the audience, with this person might have done it and this person might have done it, just fucking with us. So fun.
Yeah.
The writing, they were in charge of the writing. They knew what the show was. They complete control of the story and character and just master of their crafts.
Mhm.
So there was a
Season
lot.
2?
There was a lot more going on in season 2.
I say season 2 as well. And my reasoning comes down to a couple things. Even though I really want to say season 1 because Amy Schumer had nothing to do with season 1.
Yeah, you're not that petty of a man.
I'm not, although I want to be for her. I had more of an attachment to season 2.
Sure.
They had more of those emotional beats. I really was drawn into the father-son
Yeah.
stuff. My heart broke.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I fell in love with the Howard love relationship. I was so happy. So I had more emotional attachment to season 2
Uh-huh.
than I did the first
Sure.
season. And it might have made a difference because we know the characters a little bit better now, but honestly, it's just the writing. It's the way they did it.
And this season,
And I was in. I was so much more interactive with this season 2 than I was with season 1.
Hell yeah.
and I
So-
wasn't here with you guys during our podcast for puzzle finding puzzle pieces,
Flipping the pieces.
flipping the pieces. That was a really fucking great episode with Mabel and Theo. I think that
Yeah.
the deaf guy's name. Like
Yep.
that was
Yeah, I think me and Aaron gave it a 3, maybe a 2.5.
what? Oh, okay. I was like, I don't have a memory, so you got me there. But
No, the only episodes that haven't hit 5
yeah,
is
it's
the
Amy
ones with
Schumer.
Amy Schumer.
Amy
so
Schumer.
But
She-
that
she
that
dropped
episode that episode was as good as the season 1 when they did the silent episode in season
Yeah.
1.
Mm.
They
Yeah,
did the flipping of the pieces episode was just, it was kind of as good as that, just a little bit better in some shape or form, and they got that on their season 2 slot.
Sure.
And
Yeah, I'll give you that.
so that helps.
Well, guys.
Well, that's my
was,
opinion on the episode. I wasn't there, folks, that give a fuck about my opinion. So hey, I think that's why I brought it up. I don't remember anymore.
Just want my 2 cents.
I
Here's
just
your
want to
passive-aggressive
be
Barbie.
included. All right.
That is episode 10 called I Know Who Did It. Of
And now we all know who did it.
Now we all know who did it. Spoiler alert to all of you. You all know who did it if you're listening to this and haven't watched it. And if you decide to listen to this episode first, before you go and start this shit, that's on you, not on us.
Oh, that means
shame.
you haven't listened to anything or any episode of ours before, because we don't give spoiler alerts. We don't fucking we just talk about shit as if you've already seen it. So
That's
that's
true.
on
Exactly.
you. You should know us by now.
But
And,
Hulu original series, we're looking forward to the 3rd season. It'll be out next year. Oh,
Hell
I'm so
yeah.
excited.
I am
And,
curious to see, because season 2, they started recording a few months after the season finale of season 1. It was pretty fucking fast. So that means they already had everything written and they started shooting right away. And that was like kind of coming off COVID times and everything. So I'm curious to see when they start shooting, if like how fast they write the next season, if it's already done.
Season 2 got picked up after like the 2nd episode of the first season, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then this one got picked up right away too. So
and
I don't know.
They
I'm
got
curious.
17 nominations for best actor. Those
Oh my
two,
God, that's
Steve
crazy.
Martin and Martin Short,
That's
are
incredible.
competing
Nuts.
with each other to be the best actor. And that's fucking hilarious.
I want to
That is
see that
great.
award show when they start winning awards.
Yeah.
Where they start one-upping each other at
They're
the
gonna-
table.
They're gonna make
That would
it,
be great.
if they're smart, the Emmys or whatever,
They're gonna turn it into
the
a whole
award
fucking
show. They should let them
A
turn it
comedy
into
show.
a whole bit.
Yep.
That'd
Yeah.
be great.
Fuck yeah. So,
So I do have, we're looking forward to it. Season 3.
Yeah, most
I
definitely.
do want to mention one little bit of information that I feel is very necessary to say, and that is
Aram has 9 toes.
Aram has
Yeah.
9 toes, and he's
Yeah.
about to lose another.
What? Oh shit.
Tim's coming for it.
All right,
This
sorry.
will have to be the last episode, at least for the year.
Yeah.
Of this podcast.
It's a wrap for season 3.
3. I got a little bit too much going on my plate right now, and I got my second born son will soon to be born son will soon to be born. He has not next week, but the week after.
Any day.
And I've been having to recalibrate myself. I'm going through a bunch of stuff myself, so like I'm having to recalibrate myself and figure some shit out. And I'm redirecting my energy into a couple things. I got a couple projects that I'm also wanting to redirect myself on, and to try to make myself a little bit happier. And as much as I love doing the podcast, right now it's just there's a lot of things happening, and
do what you gotta do, bro.
Yep, this is one of those things where this takes a lot of my time, a lot of my energy, and it's just as of right now, I'm gonna have to step away for a little bit in hopes that by next year we can pick it back up, go at it again. So that's the only bit of news that I'm afraid I have to put out there.
Fucking also bittersweet.
I know. It's just it's like I was
Yeah.
really hoping that I could try to balance it out, but I realized that the amount
I'm
of
actually happy
attention-
that you're choosing this instead of
Yeah.
trying to over.
Juggling, burning yourself out and trying to juggle
Overwhelm
everything.
yourself,
Not gonna
yeah.
work.
and that's exactly what it's come down to. Is I'm starting to get burnt out.
I think the king will understand.
everything. If now one thing I can say is if we got some time and we want to throw up an episode to get together or something like that, talk about a movie or just BS or
Mhm.
something like that, I'm not against trying to figure that out. But
Mhm.
it's just it can't be a priority of mine anymore.
Yeah,
right
weekly
now,
thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's
Especially when
hope,
you got 2 kids running around.
Oh God, yeah.
Are you talking
It's
about
gonna
us
be a new
or?
shift. 4 kids. So
And you add in our kids.
saying that though is this episode, all our episodes, the Banter Bros show is not coming down. It's staying up. I'm leaving everything up, and my hopes is to still keep pumping out all the episodes that we haven't posted up onto YouTube. We have our other show, The Average Man, that I'm going to be putting up through our audio too, to kind of make up for the rest of the year. And so those will be coming out weekly after this episode. I'm going to try to do that too. Maybe not right away.
If you want to get to know us as people, those are the episodes to listen to.
Yeah.
But those are going to be coming up on this same show. So there's just going to be basically extra shit that we're putting up. We tried to do an extra like another show. We paid for this other show and it just
doesn't work.
It didn't work out. So
we're too busy.
And then we're going to try to, I'm going to try to, like I said, put up all our old stuff on YouTube. So I'm going to try to get everything caught up. So the whole goal is
that'll take the rest of the year.
Exactly. Right. So the whole goal is that we can try, hopefully, to pick it up. I don't want to say this is done forever.
Nope.
But I would like to plan to try to do again, but life happens. So I don't want to make any promises. It's
most stuff.
And we'll see what happens. And I also hope, and I'm going to try to set up a merch store for us and get that going as well. And remember that we do have a Patreon and we do have the socials. We have the Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. So, if you do like our show, comment and subscribe on those things. I will get everything out of it.
I suggest if you missed him and missed this show, I know it's a weird time to suggest Patreon, but get on Patreon if you want us to come back. That'll really inspire Tim to get back. And
it would really help.
It will free up some goddamn 9 to 5 time.
That's for sure.
To make the show more realistic.
And we would be able
coming
to
back,
put more energy and do it a lot better. Yes.
Yep.
Because
most definitely.
This takes up a lot of energy. And it's just a lot.
So I just wanted to say that because that was a weird way to ask for Patreon. But like, goodbye, but hey, give us money. But
hey, we're leaving. Don't
but
feel
no,
free
seriously.
To pay us on the way out.
It's not 100%.
We got a lot of content. This is 3 years that we've been doing this, so it's a lot. We're not quite at 200, but we're like at 100 and I don't know, 40 something. Shit. No, I don't remember.
After we started surfing the Marvel waves, it just
right, and that's
going fast.
And that's the other thing. This is the reason why I want to come back for sure.
Yeah,
is the Marvel stuff. I don't want to stop talking. I just
Oh, we'll be back for season 3 of this show as well. There's no way. Only Murders in the Building.
Oh yeah.
And
if
that's
anything,
another
we'll
year
have to
from
try
now,
to make
so.
that happen from a year from now. Absolutely. So. But
Right.
I don't
Holy shit.
know, gentlemen. This has been fun. This has been great. I'm amazed that we've been able to keep up this long to begin with. And I hope we can get back to it.
This is news to me,
sure.
audience. This feels like a weird goodbye as well.
Well, I haven't told you.
I'll talk to you.
So
we kind of knew it was coming though at the same time. So
now, like I said, I'm glad you're making this choice, and we'll talk more about it at work. Let's sign off and moon these motherfuckers.
All right, that sounds good.
I think that's a good way to get us taken down.
I just want.
Thank you for listening,
I feel
and
awkward.
you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night or day, depending on where you are.
Or when you're listening.
Live, love, and laugh.
Don't do that.
Well,
Eat, pray. I don't know. Goodbye.
Just stop.
Signing off.
Peace.
Peace.
bye.
Her feelings make me laugh. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to check us out. Jason, where can we be heard?
I don't know, Tim. Where can we be heard?
Let me tell you where we can be heard. You can find us on all the other platforms that you find podcasts, like iTunes and Amazon Music.
Oh, them places you find all your favorite and popular podcasts.
Yeah, Spotify.
That's where I listen to podcasts, and nowadays you can rate your podcast on there. Go ahead and give us 5 stars on Spotify or any other platform you listen to your favorite podcast on.
And Spotify.
If you want to watch us, you can find us on YouTube. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Give it a share. Give got to comment, all the algorithm stuff. It helps.
And if you want to comment on how bad and terrible we are doing or how ugly we look, just send us an email at bnbbanterbros@gmail.com.
And that's A-N-D, you said, between the B's?
A-N-D in between the B. You could also check us out on the multiple social platforms that consume everybody's life, like the YouTube, the Twitch, the Twitter, the TikTokity, and the Instagrammy, including Facebook. So please, come check us out. We'll catch you next time.